Welcome back, Deadites and Ghost Speeders. Today we're going to talk about what was kind of a weird and unexpected patch yesterday. We dropped the patch notes, we talked about some of the things that went down, but now we're taking a look back, 24 hours later, what we think of what just went down. And of course, if you like this Evil Dead content, please drop a like and a comment below. It really does help the channel and it does help the video. And of course, smash that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell for all Evil Dead content. Now, if you're looking for people to play with or just talk about Evil Dead or horror movies, click on that link in the description below. Our Discord is there. You can find people to play with or just, shoot the shit about Evil Dead. So I'm sure, unless you're on Xbox, you've gotten a little bit of time in 1.05 update, which had some really good stuff like removal of animation cancellation, but also had some surprises like healers getting whacked with the Nerf Bat. I did not have that on my first patch bingo card for sure. Now, the question that really comes from this is, what has this done to the entire support class as a whole? And are Evil Dead 1 Ash and Cheryl even viable any longer? Well, let's start with the easy one. If you watched Wednesday's edition of the Brujo Show podcast and you saw my debut of, albeit very short-lived, new tier list. And I plan to drop a video tomorrow with that full breakdown and go in from a new 13-1 with, of course, Pablo being number 1. Pablo was number 1 on Wednesday when we were talking about it. And his grip on that top spot grows even stronger amongst his peers because the support class just got completely remodeled. Especially since the rest of his mates got hit with the Nerf Bat. He was left untouched. The only thing that was left untouched healing-wise in general was the consumption of Shemps. There's no change to that, so that's just group healing as normal. So that means Pablo's still absolute money to use. He hasn't been taken out of the equation. They didn't change anything with his shields. Pablo is still basically a shield Pez dispenser and will have absolutely no problem carrying a group or going off on his own. He's the one character I'm like, if you're gonna go do some solo shit, Pablo's the one to do it. So little buddy Pablo still remains very, very good and absolutely worth using. Now the question happens is what we do about the other two in his group, the support class that just got completely whacked. And we'll start with my biggest drop on the list to start with, even before this patch hit, going down 5 spots to number 11 overall, and that was Cheryl. I definitely did not feel that she's lived up to my pre-game launched, my beta opinion of her when I made my first tier list, and now that her healing's gone down from 80 heals per second to 60 heals per second, we'll see enough of a drop that most will consider probably dropping her from their rotation. I could easily see Cheryl being kind of obsolete, and I will talk about the first Cheryl I've gone against since the patch is launched with my little baby Elagos that I'll show you here. The biggest problem with Cheryl's healing, though, and one of the reasons that I dropped her in the first place before the patch is she gets one big heal that's on cooldown. Now, I'm not including Shemps, and you can always carry more Shemps because you can spec into it. But she get one big heal on cooldown, and now it's an even less of a heal on cooldown, so yikes. Now, Evil Dead 1 Ash did not get beat down as badly, but he did get a twofold nerf. So the first nerf was on the unintentional extra healing that was received from animation canceling, which 100% should have been fixed. Absolutely, no doubt, without a doubt. I've been saying on videos and podcasts and streams that animation canceling had to go. So I'm not arguing with that one little bit. But the other one was the lowering of his heavy melee heals from 35 heals per hit to 25 HPR per hit. And now some are arguing that Sash, or support Ash, was getting light return from that from the get-go, and now they doubled down on him. It was kind of shocking, and I absolutely did not have nerfing healers as anything I had predicted when we were talking about possible nerfs in the first place. Now, of course, if they're talking about possible nerfs, we had talked about 2, and one of them was Elagos and one was Army of Darkness before, but I never thought they would reach into the support class and nerf healing. Now, that was one way to approach it, but because of that, we have a massive difference in level amongst the support characters. You have Pablo sitting on top of his mountain looking down at the valley, and in the bottom of the valley he finds, support Ash, who's just kind of hanging out there, and then he needs to hop down into a ravine to find Cheryl. This is probably going to make more of a mess than it's actually supposed to fix, and we're a little too soon to tell, but I don't think it was probably the right call. And by a lot of the feedback I'm seeing on the Reddit, on the actual Discord, in my videos chat, most people don't seem to be real thrilled about this. This is probably going to be one of those things that gets retconned relatively quickly, but who knows? Now I want to show you my little itty bitty tiny very small Elagos, and who just hit level 6, and he hits level 6 on that match, so he was level 5 going into it. And we had points in this. We had a point in shock and awe, we had a point in high voltage, we had 1 in fear factor, and I had 2 in wicked fast. I didn't even have the point in power surge until after the match, and I basically was able to just maul a group with Cheryl. And the Cheryl seemed pretty maxed out because she was doing some pretty heavy heals when she was like dropping her heals compared to what a level 1 or 2 Cheryl would be. But it was a leader Ashe, a Cheryl, a Kelly, and an AOD Ashe. And I was able to completely wipe the group except AOD Ashe twice. Once at the final piece of the map, so very early in the match. I couldn't even get out Elagos at that point. I was able to do it again on the Kandarian Dagger, which was the second round of objection. So they had already had the pages. And then I was able to almost drop the book. I was within a pixel of dropping the book. I lost the match, but I was doing way more damage to characters than the little Cheryl could keep up with anymore. And I'm wondering if they might have nerfed this support class too hard, because this character here should not be winning matches. It should not be laying characters out. It should not be controlling the map. And it was doing everything it wanted to with very little resistance. And I should have won the match. If he would have been, I don't know, 3 or 4 levels higher, I probably would have even won before we got out of the map, because the Ashe that locked me up, I probably would have switched my approach and, you know, just kept them pushed away, and that would have been the end of it. And this was pretty bad. Like, it was way more powerful than I was, and animation canceling is obviously gone. But yeah, so we had some concerns. We definitely have some concerns right now, because that's not how this is supposed to be. And there you have it. This little Elagos should not have stood any chance whatsoever. And I want to know what your thoughts on it. Do you think that they should have hit the healers already? Do you think it might have been a knee-jerk reaction to some of the comments I've been seeing from a lot of killer mains, where they felt like the heals were too strong and they were having a hard time dropping survivors, or that, you know, the combination of heals with shields was making it very difficult to get through matches and they were losing a lot? I don't know. This may have been right call. It may not have been. But what do you guys think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. As you know, I answer all my comments. I actually really want to hear your opinion on this. I'm kind of torn on this one. It's definitely not the way I feel about animation canceling, where I'm like, that needed to go. That was absolutely an exploit. But the way Ashe and the way Cheryl healed was not. That was supposed to be as intended. So I'm kind of on the fence on how I feel about this. So let me know what you guys think, and we can have some dialogue around it, because I really want to hear everyone's perspective. As always, thanks for watching, and later, mates.